Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Good morning, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. As you can see, there's plenty of space both in the room and online. So if at any point you'd like to come closer, you should feel welcome. Or if you'd like a pew to yourself, that is also possible this morning. Everyone should have prayer books in their pews, either on the seats or in the shelves in front of you. And we're on page 192. And as always, if you have two numbers in the lower right, please refer to the one in brackets. Page 192. Ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu. Vani berov chastecha avo beitecha, אשתחווה אל היכל קודשך ביראתך. מה טובו, מה טובו, מה טובו, מה טובו. אדוני אהבתי מאוד ביתך ומקום משכן כבודך, ואני אשתחווה ואכרע אברך לפני אדוני עושי. מה טובו, מה טובו, מה טובו, מה טובו. ואני תפילתי לך, אדוני עת רצון. אלוהים ברוב חסדך, ענני באמת אישך. מה טובו, מה טובו, מה טובו, מה טובו. Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom, Cantor. I don't know.
Yeah, you're on.
Okay, good. And Shabbat Shalom to everyone gathered this morning. Everyone gathered this morning. I find that when we have a smaller service, it feels more meditative. And that's perfect, I feel, this particular Shabbat morning. First of all, I missed those middle verses. That was really nice to hear them.
Glad.
I don't know if others have missed them over the years. We haven't been doing them. But I was looking at the last stanza, and it literally is, I am my prayer to you. Ani tefilati lecha, I am my prayer. And so this idea of it being a quieter morning, a more meditative morning, a part of the Thanksgiving weekend, which naturally invites us, calls us into reflections on gratitude, to kind of find ourselves here this morning, and how might we become our prayer? How might you find yourself in your body this morning, and find your body, and find your breathing, and find your gratitude, and find your heart, and find your mind, and become prayer? Can you imagine using the songs, the melodies, the words, the silences to align yourself and with what's beyond you, so that you might become prayer? we'll continue with Asher Atzar, which is about our bodies, and this sweet version of it by Dan Nichols that reminds us that our lives are for living right now and our sources for gratitude, our bodies and our souls. And we'll go from there into Nisim B'chol Yom, which is just about paying attention, which one more thing I want to say is that the word in Hebrew for giving thanks, lehodot, it means noticing. And that's so true that when we notice, we have the possibility of being grateful, because a lot of times what keeps us from gratitude is just not noticing. So let's see if we might notice a little bit this morning.
I thank you for my life, body, and soul. Help me realize I am beautiful and whole. I'm perfect the way I am, and a little broken too. I will live each day as a gift I give to you. I thank you for my life, body and soul. Help me realize I'm beautiful and whole. Help me realize I am beautiful and whole. I'm perfect the way I am and a little broken too. I'm perfect the way I am and a little broken too. I will live each day as a gift I give to you. I will live each day as a gift I give to you, my God, my God. Oh, 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 the middle of 194, Baruch Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan לשכל ובינה להבחין בין יום ובין לילה. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, פוקח עברים. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, מתיר אסורים. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, זוקף כפופים. 200. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, רוקע הארץ על המים. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamichin mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten yaef koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamavir sheina me'einai u'tnuma me'afapai. 202. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzelem Elohim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani ben chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael bigvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Otei Yisrael betifara. Page 218. What do you think, Rabbi? Should we invite people forward or stay where they are? Stay where they are, but at some point I'm going to ask you to stand up because we don't want this to be a completely sedentary experience. So at a certain moment, please be prepared to rise. We're on page 218. We're going to sing Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah, 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 el bekocho, hallelujah, birki auzo, hallelujah, bigmurotam, hallelujah, gerogulo, hallelujah, hallelujah. Let's hear it. Come on, Gabby. Hallelujah, 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 betake a shofar, hallelujah, benevel betino, hallelujah, betofu macho, hallelujah, beminim ve'ugav. Let's all rise. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 betzilzelei shama, hallelujah, betzilzelei trua, kol hanshama tehallel-ya, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Let's all breathe. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Just because we're small doesn't mean we can't be friendly. Let's
How about that?
take this moment when we usually are in a big crowd and make sure you meet somebody you don't know, but so you can still do that. Find somebody here you've never met before, introduce yourself, and wish them a Shabbat Shalom.
If at any point you see any little people wandering in down the hall, they're going to Shir Shabbat, you can wish them Shabbat Shalom too. That's right, the dinosaurs. Well, shall we remain standing?
Yes. We're going to remain standing. We're turning to page 226 for Baruch Hu.
We go to 224 for Chatzi Kaddish.
That's right. We're going to start with 224 with Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, וילמד דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, והגהלה ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה והרוויחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. ברכו את אדוני המבורך. Adonai Haven't noticed the stained glass this morning, look over here and take a look, especially the color blue. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzeh or uvorei choshech oseh shalom uvorei et hakol. Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam yotzeh or uvorei choshech oseh shalom uvorei et hakol. One more time. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzeh or uvorei choshech
Please join me at the top of 229. In the beginning, even then, a new light was sown for the righteous, a promise that your light would become the catalyst, first for order and then for hope. Author of language and light, help us to use words as you have, to cast light into dark waters and draw out justice and truth. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMeorot. We come on page 230 to Ahava Rabbah. And lately I've been talking about this prayer as this kind of miracle that we never, ever stop learning, that we're just always capable of more learning. It's not finite in any way. And that being a gift of love and something really for gratitude, it is really what ought to give us hope. We're not stuck, ever. And so we pray in gratitude for our capacity to learn.
ותלמדם חוקיך אם כן תכוננו ותלמדנו עם רחם רחם עלינו רחם עלינו ותן בליבנו להבין ולהשכיל לשמוע ללמוד וללמד לשמות ולעשות ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה והאר עינינו בתורתך בדעת v'nismecha b'yeshuatecha, near the bottom of 230. V'havienu leshalom me'arba kanfot haaretz v'tolichenu komemiyut le'artzenu ki el poel yeshuot ata uvanu v'charta v'keravtanu l'shimcha gadol sela be'emet lehodot lecha u'leyachercha be'ava baruch ata Adonai הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. 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 ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. 234. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם המזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת. Page 240. מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות עושה פלא שירה חדשה שיפור גאולים ושימך על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Please rise. צאו ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל ובדחי נאומך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
We come now to the Amidah, the Tefillah, and I'm noticing this morning a link, a bridge between Mi Chamocha and the Givurot prayer, the second main prayer of the Amidah. In Mi Chamocha, we are celebrating a God who is dedicated to freedom and was our liberator, and by praying the prayer, we're saying, will again be our liberator, will be the source of freedom in the world. And then on page 246, we're going to get there soon, in the Givurot, we describe, Givurot is about power. Hatagibor, you're powerful, God. What it means to be powerful for God is to be with whoever has fallen, whoever is sick, whoever is imprisoned or trapped, whoever is no longer alive, to be with whoever needs help. That's what power looks like. It isn't to dominate, it isn't to frighten, it isn't to control. It is to weigh life with chesed, with love, to hold humans in compassion. That is the purpose of power. That is the God we pray to. We start by asking for words on page 242.
Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai, 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 Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu V'Imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Ve'Konei Hakol Ve'Zocher Chasadei Avot Ve'Imahot U'Mevi Gehula Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch Ata Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah 246 Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayem Metim Ata Rav Lehoshia Mashiv HaRuach Morid HaGashem Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechayem Metim Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofech Oholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Baal Gevurot Umido Melach Melech Memit Umechayem Umatzmiach Yeshua V'neheman Ata Lechayot Metim Baruch Ata Adonai Mechayeh Ametim 248 Nekadesh et Shimcha Ba'olam Keshem Shemakdishim Oto Bishmei Marom Kekatuv Al Yad Neviecha Vekara Zeh El Zeh Ve'amar Kadosh 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 Adonai Tzevaot Melech Kol Haaretz Kevodo Adir Adirenu Adonai Adonenu Madir Shimecha Bechol Haaretz Baruch Kevod Adonai Mimekomo Echad Hu Eloheinu Hu Avinu Malkeinu Moshienu Ve'hu Yashmienu Verachamav Le'nei Kol Chai Ani Adonai Elohechem Yimloch Adonai Le'olam Elohai Tzion Ledor Vador Hallelujah Ledor Vador Ledor Vador Ledor Vador Nagid God Lecha Ledor Vador Ledor Vador Ledor Vador Nagid God Lecha לנצחים קדושתך נקדיש לשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם מברך לדור ודור לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד גורלך לדור ודור לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד גורלך ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Continue silently through page 261. Page 256. The third Hebrew paragraph. Hatov ki lo chalu rachamecha ve'hamerachem ki lo tamu chasadecha me'olam kivinu lach me'olam kivinu lach the English paragraph. O good one, whose mercies never end. O compassionate one, whose kindness never fails. We forever put our hope in you. We forever put our hope in you. Me'olam kivinu lach, me'olam kivinu lach, me'olam kivinu lach. Aladai, ay, 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 ay. Aladai, ay, 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 ay. Aladai, ay, 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 ay. Aladai, ay, ay, ay. Alai, ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Me'olam kivinu lach, kivinu lach, kivinu lach, kivinu lach.
So up until now, we've been kind of in a meditative, quiet, sweet space. And at the beginning, I talked about using this time to get in touch with gratitude and to get in touch with ourselves, to kind of align ourselves in the kind of quiet space of prayer. And now we shift over to the service for the reading of Torah, a really different kind of energy. But first, we're going to hear some greetings from our president, John Horowitz. And then I'll give you instructions, because we're going to need lots of help for the Torah service.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Yeah, so they can hear you online.
On the Zoom?
Yeah.
All right. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I want to welcome you all here this morning, those of you joining in person and those of you who are joining us virtually. And I just want to say some thank yous. So I want to thank our clergy. Rabbi Timon or Cantor Breitzer, thank you for leading us this morning. I want to thank Kimber Alisi in the back. Thank you for supporting us in person. And I want to thank Gabby as well for providing audio and online support. And it's so nice to see you all here this morning. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Thank you, John. All right, so it's time for the Torah service. We are going to need someone who wants to take the Torah out of the ark and do the Shema and the kind of early blessings that we do at the beginning of the Torah service with holding the Torah. Somebody want to do that? All right. Excellent. Thank you, Fred. And then we are going to need someone to undress the Torah. Why don't we make that an honor? Anybody want to undress the Torah? This is a great one for kids. I'll totally help you if you want to. No, I see. Oh my gosh, so many shaking heads. So many shaking heads. Okay, I don't really need somebody, but if somebody wanted to help me undress the Torah, it's really a nice, easy thing to do. I'll show you how. All right, okay. We don't have to do that. Okay. I need someone to dress the Torah. To lift the Torah. Maybe it will be Jonathan Spear today, or maybe it will be... Oh, excellent. Beautiful. And then I need someone to dress the Torah. That maybe could be a family activity altogether.
It's a lot easier than getting dressed yourself.
It's so true. Awesome. And then we're going to have a group aliyah. And that is going to be for anybody. So last night I was talking about how this whole... So we're in Parshat Toldot. It's a big conflict between Jacob and Esau. And last night I talked about how it's really built on a false idea that there was really only one blessing to give out, when actually it totally turned out in the Parsha there was more than one blessing to give out, and there wasn't a scarcity. And so it kind of raises, and it's a great theme for Thanksgiving, like that actually there's often enough, even when it seems like there's not. And there's a lot to be grateful for, even when things are hard, but there's often enough if we would only notice that there was enough. And so if you're someone who would like to kind of get in this year, in this season, or even just today, into that feeling of enoughness, there being enough, having enough, enoughness, on this Black Friday weekend, enoughness, already enoughness, satiety maybe, I invite you for that aliyah. So hopefully there'll be somebody who will come up for that. Okay, so we're ready for the Torah service. Fred, you're coming up first. We're going to ask everyone to please rise.
Page 362. Ein kamocha Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha, malchutcha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'ador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch le'olam eva'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yiteh, Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom. Ahav harachamim, heitiva v'rtzonecha et Zion. Tivneh chomot Yerushalayim, tivneh chomot Yerushalayim. Ki lecha levad v'tafus, melech el ram v'nisa, Adon olamim. Page 364. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, u'devar Adonai b'Yerushalayim. 366. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol, Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadlu Adonai iti, u'mechomem Hashem yachdav.
Lecha Adonai hagedula ve'hagevura ve'atiferet ve'hanetzach ve'ha'od. Yichol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, Yichol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. Lecha Adonai הממלכה והמתנשא לכל ראש. רוממו, רוממו, רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו, כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. except Penelope, who's chanting Torah this morning.
We're so glad that Penelope's chanting Torah. Come on up, Penelope. And we're going to be reading from Genesis chapter 27, starting at verse 8. And you can follow along in the Torah commentary at page 185.
And most of the Torah commentaries are over here, Rabbi. I see Kimberly's going to get some, and anyone else who wants to get some to help distribute would be most welcome.
And page 185 is in the old.
In the old, yep, all the ones
old
that
clout, so
look
David,
more authentic.
David, those are the new ones. So you can find it, obviously, but it's a different page number. All right. So as people are getting Torah commentaries, it's a good moment to think whether you want to come up for this aliyah around wanting to get in touch with having enough, being enough, enoughness. If so, I'd like to invite you forward. Oh, yeah, 185. All right.
Amen. Ve'ata v'ni shema b'koli la'asher ani metzava otach lechna el hatzon v'kach li misham shnei gedaye izim tovim ve'ese otam mata'amim le'avicha kasher ahev Veheveta leavicha ve'achal ba'avor asher yivarechecha lifnei moto vayomer Yaakov el Rivka imo hein Esav achi ish sa'ir ve'anochi ish chalak ulai yamusheni avi V'hayiti ve'einav kim tateya v'heveti alai kilala v'lo v'racha v'atomer lo imo alai kilalatecha beni ach shema b'koli v'lech kachli v'yelech v'yikach v'yave le'imo Vatas imo matamim kasher ahev aviv.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam atah b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. Mishaberach avotenu v'imotenu. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless you with that feeling of enoughness that you are seeking. May you know that you are enough. May you have enough. And once you have enough, may you know it. And may that security and that sense of safety give you the ability to share and enable others to share, to inspire others to feel that they also have enough, so that they may live more simply and sustainably on the earth and with one another, so that all might someday have enough. Yesher koach. All right. We are, no, thank you. We are going to take a moment now with the Torah to think about people who need healing. We're going to pray Mishaberach. It's on page 371 in the Siddur. We're going to pause in the middle and invite you to name anyone who needs healing, and we'll pray for them all together.
Mishaberach.
pray for healing for the following people we name now. We pray together.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
We're ready now for Daniel and family to come lift and dress the Torah. Ask everyone to please rise.
Page 370. Just watch your step behind you. Vezot HaTorah she'sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai beyad Moshe. And over here. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah shakeinat Yaakov, Torah shakeinat Yaakov, Torah shakeinat Yaakov, Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Please be seated. And for Haftarah this morning, we turn back to our Torah commentaries to page 341, page 341, for the very beginning of the book of Malachi. Now, a lot of the prophets' names are actually sort of a mystery to us because they mean something very specific in Hebrew. So Malachi actually means my messenger or my angel. So we're not entirely sure what Malachi's real name might have been, but we definitely see him continue with this notion of Jacob versus Esav. And I think it's somewhat fitting and maybe an ironic postmodern way that this particular Torah portion comes on this particular Saturday, which is a big day in the world of college football. I won't say anything further than that in terms of rivalries, except to look around and say that there's probably just a little bit more blue than there is scarlet in this room, which is fine by me. Page 191, Malachi, chapter 1, verses 1 through 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratza b'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'v'Moshe avdo u'v'Yisrael amo u'v'nviei ha'emet v'tzedek. Masah devar Adonai el Yisrael beyad malachi. אהבתי אתכם, אמר אדוני, ואמרתם, במה אהבתנו? הלא אח עשיו ליעקב נאום אדוני, ואוהב את יעקב, ואת עשיו שנאתי, ואשים את הרב שממה, ואת נחלתו לתנות מדבר. כי תאמר אדום רוששנו ונשוב ונבנה חורבות כה אמר אדוני צבאות המה יבנו ואני אהרוס וקראו להם גבור רשעה והעם אשר זעם אדוני עד עולם ועיניכם תראנה ואתם תאמרו יגדל אדוני מעל לגבול ישראל ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם צור כל העולמים צדיק בכל הדורות האל הנאמן האומר ועושה המדבר ומקיים שכל דבריו אמת וצדק על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים והיום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה לכבוד ותפארת על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Yesh koach. So I thought that for this morning, imagining that we might be few, that we should do a little text study. So I brought a little packet of texts, and we're definitely not going to get through them all, but you can take them home and think about them, and we'll just do the first few together. So you'll see, I guess I'll pass it before saying anything about it. I'll just hand them out, and you'll see what they're about. All right, so there's a moment, actually I'm not even going to describe it, we're just going to go into it and you'll see what this is about. Would someone be willing to read this is from this Parsha? This is chapter 27, starting at verse 30, and it's in this moment when the deception has happened. Jacob has convinced Isaac that he is Esau. Isaac has given Jacob the blessing he intended to give to Esau. And then here's where the action picks up. Will someone read this in English? Go ahead, Jerry.
No sooner had Jacob left the presence of his father Isaac, after Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, than his brother Esau came back from his hunt. He too prepared a dish and brought it to his father. And he said to his father, "Let my father sit up and eat some of his son's game, so that you may give me your innermost blessing." His father Isaac said to him, "Who are you?" And he said, "I am your son, Esau, your firstborn." Isaac was seized with very violent trembling. "Who was it then," he demanded, "that hunted game and brought it to me? Moreover, I ate of it before you came, and I blessed him. Now he must remain blessed."
Okay, so what we're going to focus on is in verse 33. It says, "Vayecherad Yitzchak charada gidola." In the English, it was, Isaac was seized with very violent trembling. But what you can't see in the English is that the verb and the noun are the same. Vayecherad is, and he trembled, a trembling that was great, a great trembling. And the Hebrew is chet resh daled, chered. You might recognize this Hebrew for a name that we call people who are ultra-Orthodox, Haredi, same word. And this idea is that there's trembling before God that's happening. But so what is this trembling that's happening for Isaac here? And this is the inquiry that a lot of our sages were wanting to dig into, and that we have a number of things to compare it to. So just before we compare, what do you think? What's just the shot? Like what's going on? Why is there this great trembling overtaking Isaac?
He's overcome with emotion.
Overcome with emotion. A lot of emotion. Overcome. Beautiful. Any other thoughts? Yeah.
He seems confused
Confused.
and that he's made some sort of error.
So there's been a mistake maybe. And confusion. So there's confusion and, you didn't use the word fear, but like concern that there might be a mistake. He did something wrong. Okay? Yeah.
Also, it's as if he was on a path. He knew he was dying. He was going to give a blessing. Like it was a clear path. And it's like the turbulence of realizing that the path is something's in this path.
He was on a path. He was dying. He was giving a blessing. And now, I like the word turbulence is so nice in terms of the relationship, to trembling. Like everything was shaken up. He was there was something smooth happening, and then he was diverted from it. He suddenly realized he thought he was on a path, but actually maybe not. Beautiful. Any other thoughts about the great trembling? Yes.
That he was out of control.
Out of control.
Also perhaps furious.
Ooh, there could be furious that he'd been tricked, that there might be anger here, there might be rage here. This might be a different kind of trembling, not just surprise or confusion, not just general emotion, but maybe this is anger. But you said before that, you said something else. He was out of control. Yeah. Yes. He thought he knew what was going on here, and he thought he was in charge of it, and now it's been there's turbulence. He's out of control. Beautiful. Okay. Any others? Embarrassed. Embarrassed. That's so interesting. Yeah. Related maybe to being out of control, like feeling like, wait, I was supposed to have this together. I'm in charge, and now I'm like humiliated, embarrassed. What happened? Beautiful. Okay.
Maybe he got chills.
Maybe he got chills. Yeah. I mean, that related to being kind of overwhelmed with emotion, and also possibly this like something otherworldly happening to him. Okay. Any others? All right. So let's look at some other places where we have this verb and see what it might teach us about its appearance here. So next we have, and I realize I didn't put the English sources. They're only in the Hebrew. The source name is only in the English. It's only in the Hebrew. But this is Samuel 1. Chapter 20, verse 8. 28, verse 5. And there's going to be a war with the Philistines. And Saul is going to be the one who's trembling. Would someone read this? And Samuel, so this book is named for Samuel. And Samuel is the great prophet who really was guiding Saul, who was king, through whatever was coming, whatever was happening. And this passage begins, I backed up before the Hebrew, but with Samuel's death. So Samuel's died. So talk about like things being out of control. The person who's been really kind of the leader and the guide of the people, and who crowned Saul king, has now died. Okay, who will read this? Jerry again.
Now Samuel had died, and all Israel made lament for him, and he was buried in his own town of Ramah. And Saul had forbidden recourse to ghosts and familiar spirits to the land. The Philistines mustered, and they marched to Shunem and encamped. And Saul gathered all Israel, and they encamped at Gilboa. When Saul saw the Philistine force, his heart trembled with fear, and Saul inquired of Adonai, but Adonai did not answer him, either by dreams or by Urim or by prophets.
Urim, just so you know, if people know there were these kind of oracles that the high priest would have in his garment, which would tell the future. And so Urim is a reference, is that. So Saul could not get an answer from God. And Samuel has died. And the Philistines are coming. And they have apparently a large force. And here it's pretty explicit what trembling is. Any thoughts about what light does this shine on Isaac on his deathbed? Yeah, Daniel.
Well, this one they specifically call it trembling with fear.
Yeah.
So, in fact, they didn't feel a need to put a definition on what the trembling was before. This was specifically what fear suggests to me that maybe the trembling before was sort of a different kind.
So interesting. Okay, so Daniel's saying that here it specifically says it's trembling with fear. There's fear and trembling, and not that tells you that trembling always means fear, but that the fact that the other text doesn't say fear means maybe it's some other kind of trembling, or else it would have said also fear there. Yeah, Fred.
I think it also reflects like what, at least to Isaac, are the stakes of the misplaced blessing, perhaps also being tricked. Like it seems intuitive to us that Saul is facing entire armies potentially obliterated, and especially for us as wise people, what's the big deal? A blessing for the wrong son. It clearly shows that they're both trembling, they're both incorrect, and so it's like clearly the stakes are very severe, very high.
Really interesting. It gives you a sense of the stakes being so high. Really interesting. And by the way, Saul does die in this battle. He a few verses later, he's going to die. So, yeah, that the fear of impending death, and that the idea that giving a blessing to us in our ears might sound like a light matter, to Isaac it was of that significance. Any other observations before we move on? Okay, moving on. So we have another example of this word in Genesis. And this is Genesis chapter 42, verse 28. And my first question is going to be, once somebody reads it, I think Jerry's going to read it, I hope. Once somebody reads it, once Jerry reads it, then, I'm sorry, I should be saying Rabbi Weider. Once Rabbi Weider reads it, if someone can tell me, what is this? What are we reading? Go ahead, Rabbi Weider.
Read it.
Yes, please.
Okay. And he said to his brothers, my money has been returned. It is here in the bag, in my bag. Their hearts sank and trembling turned to one another, saying, what is this that God has done to us?
Okay, who can tell me what's happening? What is this scene? Who are these people? Anybody who's not clergy? Yes, Joseph and his brothers. And what's going on?
Joseph's return, they snuck the money back into Benjamin's bag, and it's a test for the brothers to see what they'll do when you accuse Benjamin of thievery.
All right, I bet people couldn't hear that. I'm going to say it. Joseph returns. So Joseph is Pharaoh's right-hand person. The brothers have come seeking food. They don't recognize him. He's testing them. He returns their money into Benjamin's bag, and it's going to be a test about what they do when they're accused of thieving, of stealing, and they're terrified. Or I shouldn't tell you that. What do you think they're feeling? What do you think they're feeling? What does this tell? What does this add to our understanding of Isaac trembling? Yeah.
Well, obviously there is an element of sort of fear and sort of
Yeah.
physical shaking and stress, but also it's interesting that they both involve trickery. There's something about the feeling of having been tricked.
That is really interesting. I had not thought of that. They both involve trickery. That's right. And there's fear there. Okay, what else?
Well, and then there's the explicit reference to what is this that God has done to us or to me, as Isaac would have done. So it's an explicit judgment of
Yeah, so they are explicitly bringing God into the story. It's not just people relating to each other. They interpret this as God, and their trembling is related to God. And then if you take that idea and you look back, Saul was unable to access God, right, and is trembling. And we don't have any mention of God in the Isaac passage, but perhaps this adds a dimension to what's going on there and his understanding of what's happening. Yes?
It's like he was trying to give a blessing, but maybe he was cursed.
But maybe he was what?
Cursed.
Cursed. Ah, he was trying to give blessing, but maybe he was cursed. Ah, right. This feeling is something has turned in a way he did not expect, going back to the idea of being out of control, the idea of it being on a path and suddenly it being disrupted or being turbulent, that like he thought he was involved in the act of blessing, but there was some kind of curse happening here. Something supernatural. It's not just a father and sons. It's not just brothers. There's God involved here somehow. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Let's look at this passage from Isaiah. It is, what is it? It is Isaiah 66, thank you. 66, 2-5. Who will read this? Well, Rabbi Weider, would you read this?
All this was made by my hand, and thus it all came into being, declares Adonai. Yet to such a one I look, to the poor and brokenhearted, who trembles at my word, as for those who slaughter oxen and slay humans, who sacrifice sheep and immolate, who present as oblation the blood of swine, who offer incense and worship false gods, just as they have chosen their ways and take pleasure in their abominations, so will I mock them to bring them the very thing they dread. For I called and none responded, I spoke and none paid heed. They did what I deem evil and chose what I do not want. Hear the word of Adonai, you who tremble at his word, your kinsmen who hate you, who spur you because of me, are saying, let Adonai manifest his presence, so that we may look upon your joy, but theirs shall be the shame.
What does this bring us? Oh, Anna. Judgment.
The mighty hand of God, kind of the fear of being struck down.
The mighty hand of God, the fear of being struck down. Yeah, Daniel.
So suggesting that there's something sort of wrong and haughty with people who don't tremble before God. That if you're faced with that and you don't tremble, it's because there's something.
Yes. So trembling is the ideal here. Trembling is what you're supposed to do. And those who don't, there's something wrong with them. There's an arrogance there. If you're not trembling, there's something wrong with you. That's very different, right? I think there's a very different look. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Sort of bringing backwards, if the idea is that you want to be in the presence of God and God is joy, sort of interesting that your relationship to joy is that you should be trembling before a Lord of joy.
Yes. So, okay, so what do you make of that in terms of reading it backward? What does that have to do with Isaac? Or no, you're just reading this passage backward from the joy. So to be in a relationship.
Maybe, if I can try.
Yeah.
So maybe Isaac thought he was in a position with God where he was going to give this blessing, and he was.
Okay, but within the passage, but what you're saying is within the passage that to be in a relationship, a properly joyous relationship with God, it involves trembling. You should be trembling. Okay. We're going to do two more sources, and then I'm going to stop us because there's a lot more. Let's just look at Rashi on this actual verse. Rashi's actually speaking about what does this word mean in this verse. Rabbi Weider?
He trembled. As its translation in the Targum Yonatan, he was astonished, the language of surprise. And the midrash is that he saw hell opened up under him.
What do we do with that? He saw hell opened up under him. like the comment in the back, he realized he was cursed. There's something very wrong here. Yeah.
What degree was hell established by that point in the Bible?
Yeah, I mean, by Rashi's in like such a different time. Right, there was not hell. Yeah, at the time of Torah, there was not hell, really. Yeah. So that's a reading backwards. Yeah.
He's on his deathbed, right? And
Yeah.
so he had certain things he was trying to accomplish before he died. Right now he realizes that he may die without accomplishing his final goal.
So Daniel's saying he was on his deathbed and had certain things he wanted to accomplish before he died, and he's now realizing he's going to die without accomplishing those goals. This idea of he was on a path, he thought he was giving out blessing, he thought he was in control, and now it's all been disrupted. Okay, and now to just complicate things a little bit more, look down at the last source that we're going to look at, Exodus 19, verse 16 to 18. Rabbi Weider, would you read that?
On the third day, as morning dawned, there was thunder and lightning, and a dense cloud upon the mountain, and a very loud blast of the horn, and all the people who were in the camp trembled.
Okay, so what's this trembling?
Rachel,
Yes.
I have to say that the last three words in the Hebrew, "Vayechavad kol ha'aronot," that the mountain itself
Yes.
trembled. The English doesn't reflect that.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what it says on the top of the next page.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Keep going. Thank you very much, Josh. I forgot as well. Keep going.
Oh, Moses led the people out of the camp toward God, and they took their places at the foot of the mountain. Now Mount Sinai was full of smoke, for Adonai had come down upon it in fire. The smoke rose like the smoke of a kiln, and the whole mountain, some people trembled violently. Thank you.
Yes. So, but you've got, because you've got the people trembling and you've got the mountain trembling. Yeah. So, what's this scene? Anybody can tell us what this scene is? Mount Sinai. Meeting God. Okay. So, I'm just going to tell you what these other sources are, and maybe you will look at them later. One is that Jacob describes God as gives God the name, the fear of Isaac, in the next passage. That Jacob describes God as the fear of Isaac. And then Boaz and Ruth, when Ruth goes, so this is in the book of Ruth, Ruth goes and lies down next to Boaz at the threshing floor and uncovers his feet, and he wakes up startled and he's trembling, seeing her there. Same word. And then in Proverbs, talks about not being afraid of humans, but only of God. And then this idea that hell opened up comes from this Midrash, Bereshit Rabbah, in which the rabbis make Esau basically the evil and connected to hell. So, what do you think after this exploration? What would you say is going on with Isaac when he's trembling? What are our theories? David?
I'm feeling this, and it was the Mount Sinai moment that helped me sort of clarify this. It's openness to awareness of something bigger. It's openness to divine. And it might be positive, and it might be negative. It might be frightening, and it might be comforting. But something that's beyond me is going on here, and it's taking over my body. There's a big thing afoot.
Beautiful. Relates to Josh saying chills. Like that, I thought I knew what was going on and it was in the human realm, but something else is going on here that's bigger, and my opening to it makes my body shake. What else? Anybody totally disagree? Who's with fury? We still have fury going on? Who's with fear? Who's with trickery and deception? Everybody likes this theory of openness to the transcendent. Yeah.
There are all sort of moments where someone maybe was assumed
you know, the people at the mountain, like, I mean, it's, I guess, from Midrash, the mountain being raised up on top of over them, it's God saying, like, accept the commandments. There are all sort of these, like, moments where people see the relationship turning a little bit in a frightening way.
Really nice. So Penelope was saying that people think they know what their relationship with God is, or they think they know what's going on, but it's in relationship with God, and then it's different than what they thought. So it's about relationship with God, but it's something different than what they thought, and perhaps bigger and more frightening than they imagined, or overwhelming. Going back to the first thing Kit said, overwhelming them, just bigger than they are. All right. Any last words? Yeah.
I find it interesting that the poor and the heartbroken are trembling, just like almost a throwaway. It doesn't take much. They don't need to be shocked or reminded. They're there already. So they have the presence of something else is easy for them to grasp.
The poor and the brokenhearted are already trembling. They're right there already. It's easier to grasp. That's really interesting. Thank you. Thank you all. Oh, one more thing, Matt.
I still don't feel resolved.
Yeah. Does everyone else feel 100% resolved here? So I feel like you're just you.
Okay, well, just the fact that there is both the verb and the
Yeah.
noun, I don't think that's a technical sensation, but it seems to me that many of the theories we've put together may go into this, that each treble, verb and noun, could carry a different connotation.
Really nice. So still need to kind of come back to the idea that there's both a verb and a noun. Could they have different meanings, and why both? Like there still needs a little more exploration, a little more understanding there. And I guess the kind of the way to wrap it all up is that we have siblings in the Jewish people who call themselves Haredi. Like that is a whole phenomenon currently happening, that people call themselves tremblers. And perhaps they have something to teach us as this does. All right. Let us return our Torah to the Ark. Please rise.
Page 374. At the bottom, Aleinu Lishabeach. Aleinu Lishabeach L'Adon HaKol Atein Kedula Le'otzer Bereshit Shelo Asanu Kegoyei Haratzot Ve'lo Samanu Kemishpechot Ha'adama Shelo Sam Chelkeinu Kahem Ve'goraleinu ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. 589 Please be seated.
As we approach Kaddish, we draw near the memories of the people we love, whom we've lost. If this is Shiva for you, I invite you to rise and tell us the name of the person you're remembering. And if this is Shloshim, I invite you to rise and tell us who you're remembering. And if this is Shana, the first year since the death of a loved one, I invite you to rise and tell us who you're remembering. And if this is a yahrzeit for you, the anniversary of a death, I invite you to rise and tell us who you're remembering. We all rise in company with the mourners in our midst. So we remember these recent losses in our congregational community. Jeanette Myers, great aunt of Mara Sandroff. Donald Snitz, grandfather of Rose Snitz. Betty Adelson, mother of Rabbi David Adelson, mother-in-law of Lynn Harris, and grandmother of Bee and Sam. Leon Hutt, father of Shira Hutt, father-in-law of Jonathan Cornwell, and grandfather of Talia and Kobe. Stephen Radwell, brother of Jody Radwell and uncle of Atticus. Bess Bernstein, grandmother of Deborah Bernstein. Lawrence Rosenberg, father of Becca Rosenberg, father-in-law of Adam Copeland, and grandfather of Lila and Jordan. Daniel Goldberg, brother of Elaine Kleinberg, brother-in-law of Bennett Kleinberg, and uncle of Eliza and Mara. And these yahrzeits: Lawrence Adler, Betz Lifland Appel, Alvin Bernstein, Jacob Blank, Bernard Block, Rosa Block, Edward Charles Blum, Betty Brenner, Muriel Brody, Laura Cohen, Pearl Ellman, Barbara Feld, Sarah Feldstein, Rose Fischel, Mary Fishman, Natan Fishman, Samuel Frank, Irving Gerstmann, Sheldon Gleiberman, Ruth Haskell, Deborah Ray Hoffman, Gladys Calban, Seymour Kleinhandler, Evelyn Kossoy, Robert Levinson, Anna Lechner, Arthur Leeds, Helen Levine, Albert Libusser, Abraham Mallon, Herbert Mann, Morris Mazursky, Lucille Strauss-Newman, Harry Nightingale, Clara Perlman, Edith Pelsner, Joseph Pacheski, Tony Rosengarten, Romana Rosenson, Peter Schlossberg, Abe Schumer, Ann Silverman, Harold Sylvie, Jason Sinclair, Barbara Thomas, Elaine Vogel, Carrie Wexler, Michael Weil, Jack Weider, Ruth Wolfert. Holding them all close together, we say Zichronam Livracha. May their memories be an everlasting blessing as we turn to the words of Mourner's Kaddish on page 598. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי. בחיי אחון וביום אחון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל. בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן.
Amen.
יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קדושה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו amen. May the maker of peace make peace for all who mourn. And we say together, amen.
Amen. Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, Let's hear your voices sing it. Go. Hey. Ya la 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 ya ya la 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 la. Ve'imru amen. Ve'imru amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Come join us in the lobby for Kiddush.